Hey everyone, we're almost getting ready to start the interview. If you're just checking in, we're going to wait about 5 more minutes to see if anybody else joins, and then we'll go ahead and start. Tamara, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome to be here. Um, whew, Still thinking about that game of the um, Team USA versus Canada.
Hmm.
Yeah, uh, finally, they really shut out the Canada team, and I think that's going to lead to a moment for women's hockey um, to start where more women and girls are going to start taking interest in the sport in the U.S. I sorry for the Canadians, but I don't know if that's going to be a downer for the sport over there.
No, it probably will just add to the rivalry.
Yeah, yeah, it'll just continue the rivalry.
But yeah, it's like, West Coast teams beating East Coast teams in lacrosse or something. Some places are just more known for the sport. And certainly, you would think Canada for a while, but US did very well.
What do you think, Emily and Ren? What do you think will be? Sorry to surprise you guys. What do you think will be the reaction for the shutting out the Canada team? What do you think that will do for women's hockey, women and girls hockey?
Shutting out the Canadian team? Like
In
the
Yeah, 5-0 in the preliminary round of the Olympics.
I mean it definitely creates a lot of tension. But I mean I think it just raises the competitiveness. I don't think for women's hockey, I don't think it'll affect like younger girls want like it might just be like they want to play more because it seems so fun. It definitely can seem a little harsh for when shutouts happen, and like imagining being on that losing team is really hard. But I mean, I think it promotes the sport too when people hear about scores like that and they're like, "Wow, I want to watch that. I want to see what happens next time." So
So
Yeah, that publicity is really good for women's hockey. I mean, the more it gets talked about and the more that
right,
attention it gets, the better. So
yeah,
yeah. So I have your name swapped. So that means that Ren, you're sitting where Amelie is sitting, or where her name is, and Amelie, you're sitting where Ren's name is. So if you want to swap, or if you want to, Ren, if you want to be Amelie, and Amelie, if you want to be Ren, founder of the LMU women's hockey team.
no, only that I could. Well,
Oh no, I meant like swap seats. So like if you see the title card,
Yeah, you would definitely think
yeah,
for Emily looking at the screen.
yeah.
They just said to just freeze it and leave it.
Yeah, yeah. It's fine. I prepared for this. Let me just make sure that the name card is. There we go. We came up with backups. Hopefully they'll uh, come
They
back.
already switched. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see how the chat is doing. Uh, Here, let me switch back to us. All right, yeah. So, getting ready to start. we're just waiting to hear back from the LMU Lions. Let me see if I could get back in touch with them before we start. Sam, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. Let me see where you are positioned. Because once they logged out, that changed the order of things. It's okay. We'll improvise. So what I will do is I'll just create an larger scene. Women's hockey. Hopefully they come back pretty soon. Then we can get started. Okay, so this scene, that way we're not chasing screens. All right. Okay.
Are we back?
Yes, you're back from the dead.
Sorry.
Sorry, our campus Wi-Fi is pretty bad. So.
Yeah.
Oh, I understand. We have backups, so it's
No.
perfectly fine. I figured something would come up and surprise. I was just gonna check on the chat really quickly, and then we'll just get started. But I'm just creating. Let me change the outline of this on Zoom, so that way. Oh, well, that's gonna. That's a decision. Okay. Well, we'll just keep this going slow. We'll just take this at a slow pace and kind of figure things out as they go. Let me just check the chat. I didn't know this stream would be so exciting on the first time. Let's see if there's anybody in the comments. Live chat. All right, we'll go ahead and start. All right. It's okay. We know how to improvise here. Let's see. All right. Welcome to the world as we know it. I'm your host, Zach, and today we're here with Oakland Fire and Team USA Baseball's Tamara Holmes and the women of the LMU Lions Ice Hockey. Tamara, thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely.
How are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, excited to talk about baseball and hockey, of course.
Yeah, I mean, we had this conversation before where you said that you hadn't tried hockey before, but there were a couple ice sports that you always kind of saw yourself as potentially excelling at in the future. Did I have that correct?
Well, we talked you asked if I thought I would be a good hockey player, and I never thought about playing hockey. I can't ice skate. I think I've tried, once or twice. But recently looking at the Olympics, I thought I'm built more like a speed skater, that if I had to go back in time and try to be an Olympian, either speed skating or bobsled.
Yeah, you did mention speed skating as being one of the ones that you were sort of really excelling at. or would excel at if you were given the opportunity. So we're also here with the LMU Lions. Let me just see if I could get them on screen. So some of the visuals got a little mashed up, but it's fine. We'll just kind of. All right, so. Let me disable that because you are not.
I think they're signing on again. Sam is still on.
Sam is still on?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is. Okay, where did everybody go? All right. So let me turn that off. Then, all right. So this is Sam. Thank you for joining us. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Yeah. So you're. Thank you for joining us here. And how did you tell us a little bit before we kind of get into it later of how your love for hockey started?
So my love for hockey started when I was actually really young. I think I was around 8 or 9, I think, around the time. And I actually it was my first experience with it was actually going to an AHL game, which is the league under the NHL. It's kind of like their lower league team, and I went to an Ontario Reign game, and I watched it, and I was like, I want to play this. This is what I want to do. And from there, I took lessons, and then it kind of just took off from there.
Awesome. And Ren and Emily, are you okay if you say hi to everybody that's checking out this stream?
Hi.
Oh well, let me let's get rid of that name though first. I thought it was disabled. How are you both of you doing today?
We're good. Yeah, doing well. Doing good.
Yeah, awesome. So I just asked Sam kind of a little bit to give us a little preview of how her love for hockey kind of started. Where did that start for both of you? If you could just give us a little preview.
Started for me really young age. My brother has played hockey since he's been like 5. And I did a little bit of like learn to skate, figure skating when I was around 8. So I always went to his games. I always went to, NHL games with my family. Just a big hockey family. I saw my brother playing, and I was like, that sport looks so fun. I want to do that. And my love for the sport just grew from there.
What about you, Emily?
So I grew up as a figure skater, and I've spent my whole life in ice rinks and on the ice and stuff. And I did not start playing until college. I literally was walking around like LMU's club fair, and I met Ren, and she had like literally a piece of paper. Like it was a piece of notebook paper that was like LMU women's hockey team, like trying to start it. And I was signing up for everything. Like I signed up for anything I could think of. I was just like a freshman in college trying to make friends and do everything possible. But it really stuck, and I didn't think that I would end up playing hockey since it's so drastically different than like the 9 years I spent figure skating, but I love it so much more, and I've had a great time with it so far. But yeah.
Awesome. I think it's really crazy that both of you kind of came in, and I think I talked about this earlier with all of you, is just how did we get so many artists in one team? How did that actually happen?
I feel like it's kind of coincidence. When the team formed and, we were all getting to know each other, there was so many like art and film people, or just like the creative aspect, so many creative majors. And I'm not really sure how it happened. I feel like it is just coincidence, but it is really funny to see how like half the team is like they work in like the creative field. And I don't know if there's any real correlation there, but
Yeah, initially I thought that that you had strong-armed that you had strong-armed Emily into joining the team. At least that was my theory. You know, it makes sense when you kind of share the same workplace.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, Ren and I are so similar, but it was not on purpose at all. Like, we just had a bunch of overlap because we're both in animation, but Ren is a junior and I'm a sophomore. And then we work together. We're cartoonists for the school newspaper. So I was joking. I was like, well, we kind of have to be friends now because like I do. So, but yeah, it was very much not on purpose.
Yeah, she joined on her own volition. I didn't do anything for that.
And yeah, and also I just want to say you guys brought your hockey sticks. Are you guys ready to start wrapping them?
We can.
So what? First of all, what kind of tape are you all using?
Well, Amelie doesn't have her sticks today. I'll do it for the both of us. But normally I try to use Howie's like white hockey tape, but I can't find mine right now, so I'm using just a generic brand. Yeah, Sam has it. I'm using a generic brand.
And as you're wrapping up your hockey sticks, I'm gonna ask you a few lightning round questions. And I will just say, if the teammate that you're thinking of or you're all thinking of together isn't here with us today, I just want you to give the camera a big stink eye because they know who they are.
Okay.
All right. First, what kind of tape are you using? Let us see the hockey stick a little bit.
Mine is so damaged. This is the backup stick I found. Don't look at it.
All right. And if you guys disappear for some reason, I'll just pretend that it was because the question I asked were the people in the frame. Yeah. All right. So of all your teammates, who would you say is the funniest?
That's actually hard.
You know what? Sarah's pretty funny.
Sarah's funny.
Yeah. She is really funny.
Who's the messiest?
Maybe me. I feel like I leave stuff around a lot.
No, your area is not that bad.
Is it not?
No, it's not that bad.
Okay.
I think Avery was really bad.
Why was Avery bad?
She would just leave her stuff everywhere and she would lose things. One time she forgot her skates. She flew across the country for a game and forgot her skates. So
that's fair.
Oh my God. I mean, how many times can you let people get away with that? You know what I mean?
We were grateful for the help.
Yeah, we're a small team, so I guess her in rentals was better than nothing.
Yes.
Who sleeps the most?
You.
Me?
Yes, you will fall asleep. Like, remember we went to Washington for an away game and Ren and I were roommates since obviously we just do everything together at this point, I guess. And I watched Ren like sit on the bed and be like, okay, I have to finish this job application, but I'm really tired. So I'm gonna take a 5-minute nap, and if I don't wake up to the alarm, you need to wake me up. And I watched her do this for like 2 hours. She would sleep for 5 minutes and then wake up and do her thing, and sleep for 5 minutes and then do her thing. And I was like, you could just do this in 30 minutes and then go to bed. And she was like, no, this is better.
You're just out here exposing me.
I didn't mean to cause so much team conflict here. Tamara, is this the kind of abuse that you remember you and your teammates doing back in the locker room, back in the Silver Bullets days?
Yeah, except for, half of our stuff or abuse you couldn't publicly talk about, but
it was like what happens in the locker room stays in the locker room. Yeah. Who has the biggest caffeine addiction?
Hessa will come with energy drinks at our 9:40 p.m. practices, which
maybe I don't remember. Loki. Sam, say something.
I mean, I've come like many times with like I'll get like a coffee before a game.
Yeah, it's definitely Sam. She always wants to have like an iced coffee. It doesn't
Oh
matter
right,
which
yeah, it's
coffee.
iced coffee too, and you're in a ring.
Yeah, I think it was like it was like late, and I was like, I need a energy, and I got like an iced coffee, and I was like, walked in, and I was like, yeah, and then they all looked at me like I was something else, and I was like, what? And they're like, you have an iced coffee, and I was like, yeah, and they're like, don't you going to bed after this? And I'm like, maybe.
I mean, okay, so both of you are wrapping your hockey sticks. You're making good progress. Tell me about each of your styles.
So, you want to go first?
Wait, I'm.
Yeah, so everybody can see you and Amelie right now. So I'll switch over to Sam. But right now, the all eyes are on you two.
Oh really? Well, the only thing I can say is I tape to the very end of the stick, and then I leave some extra that I like cut off, so my entire tape is like, or my entire stick is taped to the very end. That's what I can say from mine.
What about you, Sam? Now everybody can see you.
For me, I have it where it's like, which is I already kind of finished it. If it will, oh, there it goes. So I tape it from the heel to like kind of the toe. I don't like to cover the full toe. I know some people more do. Oh, it is. My camera is going all over the place. It's confused. But I know some players, like, it just depends on how it is. I've seen when I coach sometimes, I've seen one of the kids, he wraps it in electric tape and then wraps tape on it. And I was like, that's interesting. I'm not going to question it. That's you do you. I've seen people who just like wrap it a little bit on the toe. It just depends on how you want it. I like it kind of in the middle, and then I would take we have something called stick wax. So which kind of it's like it kind of gives like a grip kind of to it. From what I remember, and we usually just take it and then we just put it all over the blade where we just tape. And it
Awesome.
usually helps the tape stay on longer.
Sweet. So a few more questions here. I see both of you are making good progress. I'll show everybody how both of you are doing. And then we'll go ahead and we got some baseball news to share, but I want everybody to see how quickly you guys are making work of these hockey sticks. So let's see how Ren and Amelie are doing.
I'm cutting off the top bit.
Now, both of you didn't copy each other. It seems like you're copying each other, or is there a difference I'm not seeing?
We didn't copy, right?
No. So
Yeah.
it's hard to if I blur my background. It's
So I see Sam's. She didn't cover the tip of the toe entirely.
yeah.
And then Ren and Amelie, your hockey stick is completely covered.
Yes, completely.
Yeah.
So who argues with Coach the most?
Maybe Skylar?
Yeah, I think Skylar.
Really?
Skylar knows a lot about drills and things that she's done before. And so I don't know if I'd call it arguing, but she very often contributes.
Contributes.
Oh, yeah.
Tamara, when you were playing, I guess in either of your teams, whether it was Team USA or whether it was Colorado, do any of these like questions like make you think of a specific player on the team? Like, oh, that's definitely so and so. Who would argue with Phil the most? Phil Necro.
I think for people knew better than to argue with the coaches per se. Tamara Ivy was funny, so she had a way of kind of having fun and talking crap to Krabby, Bruce Crab, and Phil for sure. but maybe Stacy Sunny could be a little salty. But for the most part, everybody, you know, was cool with the coaches. The sleeping part kind of cracked me up and reminded me of one of my roommates, Laura Espinoza Watson. I mean, she could sleep until 1 to 2 p.m. every day, which I thought was crazy. So she got a lot of sleep.
I thought Pam Davis would have argued more with Phil, given you just see how much pressure she feel, or it looks like is compounding on her, like when it's just not going for her on the mound.
No, I mean, she was one of the youngest, which like why her nickname was Pup. So I don't remember her being highly vocal. I think if I could think of someone being the most vocal that I played with, it would definitely be Tamara Ivy, the first baseman.
So we'll go ahead and switch back to Emily and Ren for this next question. But who is most likely to start a fight on the in the game?
Tessa, I think.
Tessa, really?
Well, she's pretty aggressive and it surprises me. Or Skylar.
Skylar?
Okay.
You got to give the camera a dirty look. I don't know if she's seeing this interview going on right now, but you got to let her know that she's scoring points in the worst way on this interview so far.
I feel like Tessa would also she accidentally would because
Yeah.
she's accidentally gotten penalties and not purposely. So I think she probably would have accidentally gotten to one, not purposely.
Yeah.
Who do you think is the best skater? Now, okay, I have my theories on this, and I want to say it might be Emily, because Emily, you bring in kind of that dual experience between two sports, figure skating and hockey. Is that true, or is there somebody on the team that you think deserves the back skating award more?
I mean, Amelie's really good at skating, and I would say that is figure skating influence. She definitely can skate faster than me when she puts her mind to it.
Put my mind to it.
I encourage you. I think other than Amelie, probably Sarah.
Yeah, Sarah's really good at maneuvering around people, and
yeah, she's been playing for a long time. And I believe she also grew up playing more co-ed, so she's got
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and she's aggressive too as a forward. So I feel like, and Sam's great too. Everyone's good skaters.
All right, so we'll do two more questions, and then we'll excuse me, and then we'll hit off with some women in baseball news. Who is the worst driver on the team? Let me see if I see any visible reaction from Sam. Who is the worst driver on the team?
Honestly, I wouldn't know because I drive separate, so that might be more Ren and Amla's.
Wait, why do you drive separate? Is it because you don't trust your teammates behind the wheel?
No, because I'm always busy and I'm always coming from somewhere else, and I'm not able to probably join them half the time.
Yeah.
It's fair. We miss her, but we see her at the rink. Honestly, we do carpools a lot with our teammates. And
Skylar drives us a lot. She's a good driver, though.
Skylar's a good driver. Zoe drives us. She's a good driver. I think, not to slander our social media manager,
Our honorary teammate.
our honorary yes,
Slander away.
Carpools with her. So
I'm a little bit scared.
we are a little bit scared, but we make it to the game.
We
Always
make
make.
All right, final hockey stick wrapping question. Who is the pickiest eater? Let's see if Sam has an insight first. Eyes on you, Sam.
Again, being sort of the newer one, it's just we haven't had. I've tried to get more of the connection, but I really wouldn't know. It's hard. I do remember one of our first when I got to join them for a dinner, and it was kind of right there. I wouldn't really know.
I know.
All right, let's send it to Emily and Ren.
Our
All right.
pickiest eater is by far Ren, because we work together on Tuesdays and then we have practice right after. And I've made it my goal to feed Ren dinner on Tuesdays, because she would be like, all right, I'm gonna have microwave mac and cheese for the 3rd week in a row, and I was like, let's feed you a vegetable, which is really hard. It's rough out here. I have to hide them in things, but working
vegetables. Vegetables. I'm just Emily's a vegetarian, and so sometimes the things that she makes, they're good, but I'm looking for other things too as well.
Like chicken
So-
nuggies
Yeah, exactly.
and tendies.
That's good.
I think I made you butter noodles one time, and you were like, "This is the best thing you've ever made." And I was like,
Tamara, what do you remember surviving on the road with your teammates with? Was there like a picky eater of the bus or the traveling team?
I don't, with Silver Bullets, I don't remember that too much because we got a pretty good food per diem. So, we had a lot of people eating sushi or whatever. Laura Espinoza might have been, but I do remember on USA Baseball, some of the players would come and go, play for a year, and then you wouldn't see them again. And I remember a World Cup we had in Canada, I believe, and Jill Barrett. I don't think I saw her eat anything other than Fruit Loops. She was super picky, and I think just ate cereal the whole time.
Oh my gosh. I've seen so many people on campus just surviving off of just, like I said, chicken tenders, chicken nuggies, junk food, and I'm like, how are you still alive?
That's the college life, though.
What did you survive on in Berkeley?
Probably close to say Top Ramen was a big thing then.
Oh yeah.
So a lot of Top Ramen. I love breakfast food, but eat breakfast food all the time. So yeah, that it sounds very typical of college life. But I have kids now, so when I hear chicken nuggets and tendies, I'm like, man, you guys sound like my 7-year-old right now. No vegetables, you gotta hide it.
You gotta mask it in cheese.
Right,
Yeah. So we're ready to kick off some women in baseball news. First, MLB The Show 26. From the team behind MLB The Show 25 and Road to the Show, San Diego Studios and Sony Interactive Entertainment released MLB The Show 26. In the newest release, you are scouted, you are recruited by the biggest baseball universities, and you are able to play in some of the greatest university stadiums. Even fictional characters like Angela Del Vecchio. I don't know if anybody remembers Angela Del Vecchio, but backyard baseball fame, and somebody actually came up with the idea to scout her for, I forget what baseball team, but yeah, Angela's going to university sports, which made me think, yo, Angie, call me a knucklehead, but if the Del Vecchios can be recruited by big smart schools, then why can't I? Back to school, prove to dad I'm not a fool. Tough crowd.
Like, what is that from?
That, I want to see if you could guess what it is.
Sounds like Sandlot.
Sandlot. Okay, that's a reach there. But I respect it.
Is it wait. Adam Sandler?
Which one?
Definitely Adam Sandler. I can't remember.
It's what is Billy Madison the one
Madison?
where he has to
Billy Madison,
literally go
yeah.
back to school?
Yeah, Billy Madison.
That's the one I think I replayed that in my like in my head multiple times. Just listening to that jingle. I mean, yeah, great Adam Sandler movie. For our next news title, Chicago is bringing their own banana ball team to the Windy City this spring. Maybe this is the beginning of a new barnstorming baseball era, with banana ball even adding the legacy Indianapolis Clowns to their roster. We're seeing a tent revival of sportstainment, of sideshow sports. And I say that because you can watch players on stilts performing for crowds. So I think that's the perfect word for it. And I just think it's such. What could be better than watching a team like that, the Chicago Snowballs, on a hot summer day, because winter and summer are both so intense. What could be better? I mean, they just make sense. For our next news title, first draft pick for San Francisco in the WPBL, the Women's Professional Baseball League. Kelsey Whitmore re-signs with the Bananas in Banana Ball. She says, little 6-year-old me would not say no to this, she said, repeating that she couldn't let her 6-year-old self down. I agree. I wouldn't want to let my 6-year-old self down either. If 6-year-old me were to sign with the Bananas, I know I would do it exclusively for one of the Savannah banana dogs. The ones with the banana sundae with hot fudge and whipped cream on a New England roll. No, nobody else. Just me. All right.
Not putting hot fudge on a hot dog. No.
And for our next story, who better than to talk about the title of this podcast, about fighting and sports and really breaking knees and causing really exciting injuries, than Tamara Holmes, Team USA, and Colorado Silver Bullets fame. Tamara, go ahead and tell us how you started this brawl.
I wish it were that exciting. And I could say that I started, but I did not. So yes, our team was part of a brawl against a boys team. We were playing an 18-year-old all-star team that we were beating pretty good for a number of innings, probably at least halfway through the game. Then they started talking a lot of crap to the players, not to me particularly, but a few others, and then they started coming back. So it became more annoying to us when I think, were losing at the time. So I was on deck, and Kim Bratz was up to the plate. And we like to joke that, she was the one that started it because she was, usually a very calm player, Christian, and not that you can't be a Christian and not fight, but the catcher and the pitcher were talking crap to her and a couple other players most of the game, and she got hit by a ball. And she said something, and next thing you know, she's charging the mound, and I'm thinking like, oh great, here we go. Like, who doesn't want to be a part of a brawl? But somehow our third base coach at the time, Bruce Crabb, grabbed me, and so this big dog pile happened, and I see Tamara Ivy and our third baseman, Camille Spitaleri, get a hold of the catcher. So the catcher and the pitcher were talking the most, and they picked him up and kind of flipped him over, and they were just nailing him on the side, just punching him, and all this chaos and stuff came out. So again, I missed a big part of it. Like, by the time I got to the mound, it was just one big dog pile, and all you could do at that point was just start peeling people off. But it did make television at the time. Your grandparents would probably know it was a show called Hard Copy back in the 90s. So that's one of my biggest regrets, is not having a copy of that video, and not getting a punch in, because that just, to me, that just would have been fun. But again, my coach grabbed me, which was fine, and everything just dogpiled, and people were swinging.
You know, every time you tell that story, I feel like when you tell it, you always describe yourself outside of it, just to say, I had nothing to do this. I was just watching from the outside.
Yeah, sadly, for sure. Like nobody wants to say they missed that. And for years, I had told a part of the story that apparently I got wrong because Allison Habits, we used to call her like the mayor of the team. Is no matter what city we went in, everyone knew her. There were all these people that went and asked for her, always kids that asked for her autograph. So I thought at the time that I heard she was the dog pile happened or the benches cleared, and I heard that she was coming out of the dugout to do something, and that somebody had sucker punched her. And I don't know why I thought that was funny because I could just see her being like, like the ambassador trying to calm people down, and out of nowhere, somebody sucker punched her. But I had actually got that wrong, and I believe Kim Bratz, the one who charged, some older guy came out of the stands and came after her, and she hit him. So, so she definitely got hers. But yeah, unfortunately, I was on the outskirts looking in and did not get a good piece.
All right. Honestly, for a while, I thought you were somehow involved in it. But let's go ahead and say hi to some of our LMU Lions women's hockey players. Who would like to go first? Emily and Ren, or Sam, would you like to chime in first?
We can chime in.
All right. Emily and Ren.
Are we chiming in on just the physicality?
I mean, sure. Sorry, I forgot to kind of introduce. So this is Emily and Ren Martino. Emily Stein and Ren Martino from the LMU Lions. And they're here to tell us about what it's like to be in the hockey team, just hockey. What a great sport, what a great physical sport. But the first question I think is most important to ask is, what are you all studying?
So Ren and I are both studying animation. I'm a sophomore, Ren is a junior. Yeah.
Film school.
And what inspired you to both pursue animation coincidentally at the same time and be on the same team?
I mean, for me personally, I picked animation because I love the arts and fine arts, but I could never work alone. And studio arts is a very solo pursuit, but animation requires a lot of collaboration and working with people. Honestly, it's complete coincidence that we play hockey together. It's actually funny how much we end up doing together because of the activities we have in common. But we were not friends for like the first year of being in those same spaces together, which is funny. And then eventually I was like, we have to be now because I see you too much to not be friends.
I picked animation just because I feel like there's so many like stories in my head, and I've been doing art since middle school. And in high school, I kind of self-taught myself animation based off YouTube videos I saw. And then I realized that it was actually something you could make a career out of. And I watched my brother get into film school, and I thought, like, wow, I can actually do that too. So that's kind of how I ended up here. Crazy coincidence, obviously meeting Amelie, who's someone who I feel like matches me pretty well and is involved at everything that I'm in. And yeah, it's been great. Such a, fun thing that happened in life. Sometimes these things, like, they just match up this way, and it's been obviously great being her friend. Yeah.
And what about Sam? What inspired you to join a theater major?
Yeah, so I started when I was in theater originally. I wanted to try acting and realized that I can't do the stage. I can't. And then my teacher was like, "Well, you're really good at drawing art, so have you ever thought about doing technical theater, which is more of the behind the scenes?" It's kind of, in a way, like for me, it's I always do scenic work. So I do like a lot of backgrounds, have done props, and in high school, I was just like, I want to maybe continue this. And then going into college, I first applied as an art major and then realized, no, this isn't for me. Like, I want to go back to technical theater and I want to work in scenery again. And I went and changed my major back. So I was like, I'm going to do this now. And it kind of just went off from there.
So, with so many creative majors, theater, animation, how are we not yet working on the next great hockey cartoon or hockey movie? Well, what do you think, Ren and Emily?
That's a good question. I feel like at this point we should be. We definitely have film production students as well. So it's definitely possible.
I mean, there's been multiple documentaries made about our team or like LMU hockey in general because of the film and hockey overlap. I mean, I think one of our teammates, Zoe Stack, did her like documentary assignment for one of her classes on our team. So I mean, Ren stars in it. And, yeah, there's a lot of, I think, creative stuff we could be doing with that. I mean, we have our social media manager who gets pretty creative with us and is really good for outreach, just like getting our team out there because not many people know that we have a women's hockey team here, especially in LA. It's not super common. So yeah.
Yeah, because most of the hockey teams college hockey teams that people think of are out of the Northeast, the East Coast.
Yeah.
If you had to pick though a favorite hockey movie or a favorite hockey cartoon, for me, I think I'll pick what a lot of early 2000s kids remember, which is like Rocket Power. Rocket Power was such a great cartoon, ironically created by a crew of animators that had never gone outside, touched grass, or picked up a skateboard or hockey stick. So it just goes to say, like, I mean, I'm not the biggest athlete, but maybe I could, create the next Miracle on Ice.
I think definitely Miracle on Ice is obviously like the most well-known hockey movie. I think what comes to mind for me though, I don't know about cartoon-wise, but definitely movie-wise, I think of the Mighty Ducks, as well as this the Tooth Fairy, which is like with I think with The Rock, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And and he's like a hockey player who turns into the Tooth Fairy, and it's so funny and stupid, and it probably is my favorite hockey movie. I love watching it.
What about you, Sam? What would be your favorite go-to, either, I know this is so broad, but like cartoon, movie, hockey, which do you think does it perfectly coming from a stage production side?
For me, for like theater, like when it's hockey, like we've never really mentioned it. Like you usually never really see it. Like if it is mentioned, it's like the jocks but they're usually just football jocks. But when it comes to like movies, like my top three are usually like, of course, Miracle on Ice. Like that's such a big one out there. I also have a love for Slapshot. That one it's just so funny. And then Goon is also another comedy that I love. Like those two. There's also Shoresy, which is one of my favorite television shows. Like it's another comedy, and it kind of reminds me of some of my teammates growing up and how we would act and be like all stupid and do all these dumb things and the locker room talk.
And so kind of switching gears, I want to hear from all of you, just how did football become, or not football, different interview. What was that love of hockey like for your family, or just like, not just you, was it something that you were kind of raised up with in your family? Let's start with Sam.
For me, like, I think my mom was so my mom was aware of it. She knew most of it, from her dad, but besides that, like my dad, he didn't really care for it. And then my brother, we didn't really know about it. And then, like I said, we went to an Ontario Reign game, which is probably near my local team. And I just saw it and I was like, this is this is it. Like, this is this is amazing. This is cool. Like, they're fighting on the ice and they're going to get in the box for only like 5 minutes. Like, I've never seen this before. And it was just like, me and my brother were like, we want to do this. Like, and my mom and dad were like, okay, like, do we want like them to get into this? And they're like, it was like another memory I remember is like my mom and dad talking to me. They're like, your brother wants to do ice hockey. There's no choice. Like, he's gone with that. But for you kind of want to go into like skating. Do you want to do figure skating or ice hockey? And I just immediately said ice hockey. And they're like, this is how we're going. And nowadays we just love the sport. Like, I remember going to Ontario Rain games all the time when I was younger, just to connect with it, playing with friends. It's just amazing to see the growth of the sport.
Right. You. I also noticed that you volunteer with the Ontario Reign on the. Right.
I'm an ice cream member. Yeah.
Yeah, and they do a lot of wonderful things, just kind of supporting the team, and they also do. I believe they also do a teddy bear toss as well.
Yeah, so for the Ontario Reign, as an ice cream member, it's like we scoop up the ice like in between, like there's small breaks, and we do different events sometimes. And one of our big events we do is teddy bear toss, which is basically after our home team, which is the Reign, scores the first goal of the game. Everyone just takes a teddy bear and throws it on the ice, and we collect it all, and then we donate them to charity. I think this year we did Toys for Tots. So like all those teddy bears that we collected, we gave to like kids who can't afford them, and just kids in need for it, so that they can have like a stuffed bear or giant stuffed animal for Christmas.
Right. Yeah, that's wonderful. I mean, not only are you playing hockey, but you're kind of making a difference in the hockey community and beyond through just being part of the Ontario Reign, their ice crew, and just thinking of that community beyond yourselves. Tamara, I'm curious if your kind of experience of baseball with you and within your family is kind of similar to a lot of these players with hockey. Was baseball a big part of your family when you first started?
No, it wasn't. I got into baseball through Little League in Albany, California. I remember seeing my next door neighbor in a uniform, and they were sponsored by like this hot dog place that I liked, and he was like, yeah, play, and like they were able to get free hot dogs sometimes. But I just was very curious about baseball and had my dad inquire to see if the Albany Little League would let girls play, and they did. So that started my love for baseball at 8 years old, and I was able to play up until I was 15 and kind of was in and out. I played other sports, volleyball and basketball growing up, and ultimately went to college on a volleyball scholarship.
Yeah, and for anybody that's just joining in, we're just kind of talking about women in baseball and hockey, women's hockey, and one of the things that we're kind of like exploring is what connection these two sports have, as not just like the players and their mentality and how they both love these contact sports, but just the deeper aspect of physical contact and just being able to slam into somebody and what that adds to the sport. But going back to you, Tamara, the interesting thing I noticed about your story is that it's very similar to Lily's story, in that I believe both of you started within the same Little League, and also went to the same school, and also were on Team USA.
Yes, except for the crazy part is was always probably at least 20 years older than everybody else. So I was 32 when I started with Team USA. And when I joined the Silver Bullets, I was 24. So I've been playing for 30 or actually 40 something years, playing baseball 43 years. I'm 51, usually the grandma of the team. And I retired from USA Baseball at 40. So my story is interesting is like just the longevity and being the oldest player to play. But it's like, I like the connection, the hockey and baseball, like both are starting, the women's hockey professional league has started. Actually, one of my ex USA Baseball teammates is the executive director of the Players Association for the Professional Women's Hockey League. So I thought that was cool. But I actually had a question for the hockey players, because we were talking about like the physicality of the sports.
Do you
And
want
obviously,
to
like,
talk to Ren and Emily first, or Sam?
Right. I had a question about, baseball's not a contact sport, but obviously things can happen and brawls and things of that nature. But I'm just now finding out that hockey is not a contact sport, or they've kind of taken that out of the women's side. What would happen, or what would be the worst penalty if you absolutely just rip somebody on the wall? Like, how much of a penalty? Because to me, I would just do that and be like, oh, my bad, I'm sorry.
Must have been an accident.
Suspended for a week, but if it got me a 5-minute penalty, like what are the penalties like for that?
Emily and Ren, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I know like the very, very specifics of the rules, but I know that you definitely can get a penalty for checking. And then, yeah, sometimes it could be a 5-minute major if it was a really bad hit. And then kind of, it's less if it was a bad hit and more if you keep doing it, a ref could kick you out of the game or give you a suspension if they kind of feel like you're not playing you're playing against the rules, basically. I think women's hockey, it's kind of funny that since we don't have checking allowed, there's a lot of little things that we do differently to still initiate contact but try to avoid that penalty. So like leading with our hips going into a hit instead of leading with our shoulders makes you still have contact against someone you're trying to get the puck off of, but it's harder for the ref to really count that as a hit because you're more playing the puck than really their body. I don't know if Sam, you want to chip in with anything.
Yeah, let me pull Sam up. Let's see where she went off to. Just making sure we're not losing her. Okay, so let's hear from Sam. All right, eyes on you, Sam.
Yeah, so when it comes to like the physicality, like for the PWHL now, we've seen that they're allowing checking, and for I know in the Olympics they said that they weren't allowing checking either. And then of course in the ACHA we have the women's league, which again you can't check. I know in other women's leagues you can't check, including even goes down to like for club teams for women, it's no checking. And it's interesting because a lot of girls, like I've known, even when I was trying, like some were co-ed, they would be physical. Like I'm some type of physical player, and like I've had to backtrack from trying to take those hits because I gotta remember it's a non-contact sport. But I remember at one of the last games I played was this girl, and they were kind of getting a little chippy on us, and I was like, okay, like they were punching me a few times and the refs weren't seeing it. I was like, okay, if one of these girls punches me one more time, I think I'm just gonna take the hit and then have to take the penalty. And at the end of the game, one of them tried to go in for the hit, and I just happened to slowly go lower to reverse hit them, and luckily it was the end of the games. But in those instances, I don't think the ref would have called it because she initiated the hit. And looking at different like leagues, it's weird for why we still have a non-checking rule. And I feel like nowadays it has loosened up a bit because we have more looser, since what the PWHL has allowed it, it's kind of loosened it up a bit.
Right. One of the things that Tamara that I talked about with Tamara is that the PWHL now allows body checking. The collegiate level does not yet allow body checking for women's hockey, but still, a lot of the coaches, staff, players, board members within the PWHL are worried that when they bring in new recruits from the collegiate level women's hockey, that they're not going to be sort of acclimated or used to the kind of body checking they'll suddenly be dropped into in the professional level. Do all of you feel that that's something that could happen if you go to the professional level hockey, that it's going to be a rude awakening as far as getting slammed into the walls or just being done dirty? What do you think, Emily and Ren? As on you.
I definitely think it can be. I think there's preparations that we do while we, grow up in hockey, especially with younger players as you go through the leagues, and you grow older. There's definitely, they teach you about like, this is where you should be standing near the boards. You shouldn't be this length away, because if for some reason you did get hit, you would be more likely to get injured here. Practice sometimes can be pretty aggressive because we don't have the no checking rules at practice. It's just for games. And with your teammates, it's always fun to, hit them around a little bit. So I think there definitely is some levels of preparation. I think it is definitely a little bit more of a rude awakening, maybe, if you then join a league where it is like kind of that anything goes for the contact. But a player that's been playing for that long should have kind of the physical and mental preparation to be able to handle it. And then it's just kind of adapting to that new contact environment.
Emily, I'm curious, since you came from a figure skating background, what was that awakening like when you're like, you're actually trying to hurt me? What was that like, not having that be a part of figure skating? And
in figure skating, girls are pretty visceral with each other no matter how you slice it. Like, they just are. And in figure skating, it's all very sneaky and it's all very, under the surface. But in hockey, if someone doesn't like you, they're just going to run into you. They're going to hit you, which is much nicer, in my opinion. And you can hit them back. So, yeah, I think, honestly, it's been a lot of fun being in a different environment where, like, you are expected to be aggressive with each other. It's just something that, like, I think is something that often women don't get to have spaces like that. And so it's hard in sports when they try to take that out of it. I think it's really common for like more quote unquote like feminine sports to especially try to sanitize that aspect of competition. But in hockey, yeah, it's great. I have had a great time with it so far. It did take me a little bit of getting used to, but I don't know, my teammates were pretty good about helping me feel safe around that, and same with like our coaches and stuff. Because I think like once you're more used to it, it's harder to get hurt. It's easier to get hurt if you're shocked by it or don't know how to take that sort of contact.
Right, and one of the things that also we talked about, Tamara and I, is just about how if we really need to sanitize sports at all from a lot of that, even some of the really, well, not really, because I think there is a bar for sportsmanlike and just trying to kill somebody. I remember there was actually a video of the NHL where what was it? His name was like Carr, I think. He drove another player into the sidebar or the guillotine, basically the part where it lines up with like the walls, and then it's just like that pole right there. He basically like body checked him into the air and his neck into the pole, and that became a big it became a criminal case eventually. And obviously we're not wanting the Wild West to return, where people can just, whether on the baseball field or on the hockey rink, start pulling out the bloody knuckles or stuff like that. But still, like, that kind of rivalry, that kind of heated exchange and physical contact, I think, is what makes a lot of these sports exciting. And I'm glad that it's arriving in the PW, or that it's been in the PWHL. And I don't think we need to make everybody be polite and like each other or do things under the surface in women's collegiate hockey. Tamara, do you have anything to add to that about just how important it is?
I think you're right. Like, it's super sad when you take that out of a sport that inherently has that. It's not necessary. And like you said, for the most part, people are going to be sportsmanlike. There are bad players or dirty players in every league. And yes, sometimes there are even laws or rules, written for that. But I think inherently people are trying to just be athletic. They're trying to be aggressive, and that we should let that go, because otherwise it doesn't, in some cases it doesn't make it like it's the same sport. And there's kind of this antiquated thinking of protecting women from these things, which it doesn't make sense. And dirty players are just dirty players, and you can have a non-contact sport and still get a dirty player. I remember seeing, I didn't watch a lot of soccer, but there was that video going around Instagram where a college player was like caught pulling a girl.
I saw that. That was wild.
Yeah, I mean, just absolutely filthy dirty. And like that, yeah, I'm going to turn around and fight you all day. And that's the only time that I think I've ever come up on anyone. I remember in basketball in high school, going up for a layup, and we were playing a particularly aggressive school, and literally just got flat out clothesline. And those are the times where, like, I will literally try and fight you. And I think it's not, just aggressive or even a little dirty part of the sport, but now you're trying to hurt me, which could either take me out of my season or my game, or, prevent me from getting a scholarship. Then it becomes personal. But other than that, like, don't take it out of sports where it's inherent.
I'm actually curious, though, at the basics, where does the conversation about body checking in the ACHA stand as of now, Ren and Emily, to turn the conversation to you?
I'm not sure if I know exactly where they're at with it. I know there's a bigger push from female players that are saying, like, I think we should be allowed to, but it's been a conversation for kind of years. And there's never really been too much of a real change in it. I mean, definitely the conversation is just growing larger and larger, and I do think it will reach a breaking point at one point. But I think leagues, possibly like the ACHA, kind of have their point to well, look, the game seems fine as it is, and there's maybe it's less injuries and things like that. So there would be a hesitance to change that, since it kind of works as it is. But I feel like there definitely is for the players, this feeling that, you're not allowed to do this thing that is common in, the professional league, or literally men's sports at almost any age. So there's that kind of mental part of it, which I think is why there's such a big push for it as well. It also makes the game more fun. I think there's a lot of skill that the women's players have to use, obviously, instead of the contact, but there's just, a level of fun to it, adding that back in. And I even think that if the women's leagues add it back in, watching professional leagues right now that have it, it's still not the same as men's, where these insane dirty hits all the time. It's still very skill focused game, and it's just here and there we are allowed to use our body to keep the play going. Yeah, just my perspective.
Well, what about you, Sam? What's your perspective on where the ACHA stands on body checking now? And actually, I believe they advertised that they would try to do it for this upcoming 2026 season, but promises can always be broken. What's your perspective, Sam? Turning the camera to you.
Yeah, I feel like it's always been like a conversation that's always been had. Like, should we allow it in leagues? Like I said, like for club wise from girls and club league, I know like because the around in California they have Lady Ducks and Lady Kings and a whole bunch of others, and they've talked about it since I started playing, and they said, well, we want to add it, and they're like, well, we'll think about it, and it's never been added. So it's probably going to be it's still that hard push. And like we said, they said earlier, was like how it may be like the physicality of, or the worry that it's going to add more injuries. Even though it's hard because I feel like there's a difference between the men's league and then the women's league, and the physicality wise. For men's league, we see more dirty hits from a lot of players. Like I remember just a couple weeks ago, like just from watching the Olympics, we had Fiala from the Kings. He got a bad hit and he's now out for the rest of the season. We also have Sidney Crosby, a great player. He's out for the rest of the season from what I heard. Austin Matthews, again, out for the rest of the season, and he is now having a knee surgery from a knee-on-knee hit. So I feel like they're seeing like all these injuries and from dirty hits and believing that it could go into effect for women's sports. But from what I've seen and like from the PWHL, yeah, we get a few bad hits here and there, but you also have to remember it's not all those players. It's not going to be every single player who's going to do that. If it is, then yeah, unfortunately, I would say it needs to be toned down. But we also like have those rules set. You don't do knee on knee. If you do see their numbers, you don't go in from behind. You play clean. You don't go for shoulder to the head. You don't go for those types of hits. So adding those rules in, it still allows it, but checking wise and the physicality, it's still going to be hard to get it into the ACHA for women.
Wow, that's it's unfortunate. But in the grand scope of just women's sports, I think Tamara kind of has the same experience of long time coming with the WPBL and being like, when are we going to see the return of this? And for a lot of people who saw the end of the Colorado Silver Bullets, thought there wouldn't be another generation of it, and now it's the WPBL. I mean, what advice do you give to women, or what perspective do you give for kind of looking at what may happen, or whether we'll see a growing league, something sustainable? I don't know if that makes sense what I'm asking. It's just like, what's the positive way to look at that, or how do you look at that?
I think so. You had the All-American girls in the 50s, then you had the Silver Bullet team in the 90s, and the late 90s. There was actually another league, Ladies League Professional Baseball, started by another independent investor that got even less attention. So then people said, well, there wasn't a professional league now into the WPBL. So that wasn't necessarily true, but women's baseball is hard. You live in a bubble. Like, most people don't even know still that women play baseball. And I have to assume that there's like a small part of that for women's hockey too, outside of maybe, like you said, the Northeast or East Coast. But even then, hockey has probably more of a pipeline than women's baseball. It's a labor of love. And what I would say to anyone coming up is like, I want this women's professional baseball league and professional hockey to last, because you want girls to see there is a professional league that they can play in. I want them to be able to make money in doing something that they love, kind of like, the soccer and the WNBA. So certainly, but that never stopped me from being the only girl growing up playing baseball or the only woman on baseball teams. When you love a sport, you love a sport, period. But it's a great time for women's sports with the Professional Hockey League and with the women's baseball coming. So, these conversations hopefully will be things of the past. It'll just be like the WNBA where girls can play in elementary school, junior high, high school, on through and become these great players. For baseball, I was in and out of baseball, right? It's probably amazing that I did so well considering the amount of gaps in between of playing other sports and then jumping back into baseball and then jumping back into baseball as an adult years later. And even with USA Baseball, there wasn't a league, so I was only playing, a week or two out of the year every couple of years. So it's a great time, and I hope that young girls are seeing this and want to continue.
Right. So before I turn it to these last three questions, I just want to see where everybody's at right now. So I think it'll be another 15 minutes if nobody's trying to catch anything. Is anybody needing to kind of head anywhere? To any appointments
I
or
might have
anything?
to go, but Ren is able to stay.
Okay.
Yeah, I could probably give you 10 minutes if that's okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I just want to ask about just Loyola Marymount, just broadly your experience in the school. Just let Emily know that we appreciated her being here.
She knows.
Awesome. So what can you tell us about just how it is as an experience being at this campus, not just being part of the hockey program, but what you really enjoy about being at this school in particular?
Yeah, I mean, I love this school so much. It was one of my top 3 schools when I was applying to colleges. I'm actually from the East Coast. I'm from DC. And my mom is from California, and I really wanted to go to a California school as well as a film school just because I wanted to do animation, and LMU was, fit that category. And I remember coming to tour this campus, and the campus itself is beautiful because it's on the coast. We've got a little bit of view of the ocean. You can see kind of like more of LA and the mountains. It's just genuinely beautiful. The people here are amazing. They're so nice. Everyone's very accepting, especially in the film school. Everyone just wants to help each other out. It's, I've met amazing people like Amelie in animation, and I've met a lot of other film production people because I'm in the Cinematic Art Society here. So I just genuinely love LMU so much. It's given me a lot of great opportunities and experiences. And I think the one missing piece that I had when I came to this college was like, man, I miss playing hockey. Technically, I grew up playing hockey and softball. But when I came to college, I was like, I don't think I could swing softball. I had a shoulder injury from it before, and I don't think my body is ever going to really be able to go at that, pace with softball anymore. But coming from a hockey family, I was like, I really miss playing. I still have some time to watch it here and then, and I hear about when my brother plays, but it was missing for me here on this campus. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to try and start a women's team because I want to do it. And I had heard that there were some people who had interest, and I wanted to, make that space for the people that already loved LMU so much and, wanted maybe another outlet for their love of hockey.
And let's hear from Sam too. The question was, what do you really appreciate about being on the LMU campus, about just anything, the programs, the area, just what really makes you thankful for being at this campus and being part of the program?
Yeah, for me, it's like the campus is amazing. It's really beautiful. The program I'm with, I'm really grateful for it. And like Ren said, I miss hockey. Like going into it, I'm just kind of like, I need to get back into it. I miss it from high school. like I want to do this again. And then to have like that LMU girls team is amazing because sometimes it is hard to play in a men's league and you're just trying to get back into it. So you're trying to figure out what works best. So to have it a league for women is amazing.
Right. So last question, I just want to hear from kind of all of you. What do you think of us bringing, women from two different leagues? Tamara comes from baseball. Both of you come from hockey. I know that's on the surface it can seem like these are two different sports, but a lot of experiences shared. What do you think of just the experience of bringing two leagues of women's sports together and just hearing each of your experiences? If either of you want to share it, Sam, do you want to kind of share what you think first, or Ren?
It's up to you, Sam.
I think it's like when I first heard that the PWHL was going to be formed, that was amazing because that meant women's sports as a whole was probably going to be more popular. So when I heard about the professional baseball league for women, it was like, wow, now we're adding women who play baseball into a broader league and to get them more out there again. And then we have other leagues that are now coming for women, and we have these amazing opportunities for women in sports that we don't really see that often and aren't recognized. So to see like all these sports in general to become a whole is amazing. So we have, like I said, there's always like that difference in sports, but I think the one connection that we have is that when we together as women, we always want to get out there and show what we can do, that it's not only just the men who can play the sports, but us as women can play these too.
Right. And what are your thoughts, Ren? Turning to you.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the points that Sam made. I still have a love for softball and baseball, just having grown up with it. And, seeing like these professional leagues for like any women's sport, honestly, is like, such a great thing for like young women and young girls as well. Seeing you can have these like athletic role models that are women, and it's not just like turning to men's leagues. If you're interested in a sport and you're like, oh, who's the greatest player, and you like just have to turn to a men's player, like there is a women's professional league. You can watch all these players and have like admire them and want to be like them, and put all your passion into that sport. And I think it's great when really any women's sport has, a different level added to it or progresses, especially in society. It's just a benefit to every other women's sport because it shows there's more acknowledgement of women's sport, and, tries to drive more support for it as well. And it opens up doors for more programs for younger players. I know that as the PWHL, was created, I saw more programs, especially in my hometown, being created for younger girls. And I actually did some volunteer for Learn to Play at one of my local rinks. And, I saw more and more, younger girls start joining as like the months went on. And so I just think really, yeah, any advancement for women's sport is just such a great thing. And there's such a women's solidarity behind it. And we're all just happy to see everyone else's sport, succeed in that way.
Well, what about you, Tamara? If you want to kind of close us off, just your thoughts on kind of hearing from different sports leagues and kind of seeing that perspective. I know you talked about how, though you may not have like experience playing hockey, that I don't know. What do you think about the experience of reaching over different leagues?
Well, obviously there's a lot of similarity, right? In hockey, like it sounds like a lot of people have to play with men or boys in order to play, and until you either get to a college or you live in a particular area. So, I think it's great that these two came together. And like I said, one of my old teammates is the executive director of the Players Association, which I think is super cool. And there are just always going to be common experiences with women in general across all sports, with how the world sees us and what we have to fight for. But again, I'm just excited that this is a great era of women's sports, and I love the T-shirt that says "Everyone watches women's sports." And the hockey team getting the gold medal is like one of the best things ever. And people again don't even know that women's baseball exists at the upper levels. And the USA Baseball, I would have loved to have been an Olympian. That's what we talked about. I was like, well, what outside of maybe volleyball, maybe speed skating, or shoot, who knows, even hockey if I could skate. But we were able to get a gold medal from the Pan Ams, and we were lucky to get into the Pan American Games because it was in Canada and Team Canada did it. So, I will always, and I have, the little decal, hold that close to my heart. The similarities makes us strong, and that's why we can stick up for each other. And if we all support the sports, right, it'll just make it better. People think that we watch NFL, we watch everything, right? Everybody watches sports, and now you can see. I went to a WNBA game with the Valkyries, and I had never been to a venue that was sold out in a women's sports before, and it was absolutely incredible. Go to San Francisco and see that, so I can only imagine what it looked like in hockey, and I would love to see that for baseball. So it is very much possible, and it does exist.
I just want to thank all of you to kind of round this out. Thank all of you for taking your time to join us. I really appreciate it because this kind of drew out for a while, but I really wanted to kind of make this happen just because I really appreciate hearing all of your experiences and just hearing about these exciting sports. Like, if it's not a sport that I like, that I'm not excited about, I'm not going to tell a story about it. But I really enjoy hockey for both men and women, baseball, men and women, and I just appreciate all of you kind of pulling through this. I know you had places to be towards the end, and I appreciate for you giving as much time as you did. But anyways, to kind of close this out, thank you all for joining us on The World as We Know It. We had Loyola Marymount University women's ice hockey, and we had Team USA Baseball's Tamara Holmes with us today, and we talked about the commonalities between these two leagues and how we really need to bring more contact to these sports and just sharing these experiences. Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Ren. Thank you, Sam, for making it out. I really appreciate all of you. Thank you, Tamara.
Yeah, thanks for being an ally to women in sports. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
No thanks necessary. I just really appreciate this happening. All right. And until next time.
Good luck, hockey players.
Thank you.